Sangam Age, Administration. Part 1. The Sangam Age is a landmark in the history of South India. The word, Sangam, is the Tamil form of the Sanskrit word, sangha, which means a group of persons or an association. The Tamil Sangam was an academy of poets and bards who flourished in 3 different periods and in different places under the patronage of the Pandyan kings of the Sangam Age. It is believed that the first Sangam was attended by gods and legendary sages, and its seat was Then Madurai. All the works of the first Sangam have perished. The seat of the second Sangam was Kapadapuram, another capital of the Sangam Pandyas. It was attended by several poets and produced a large mass of literature, but only Tolkappiyam, the early Tamil grammar work, has survived. The seat of the third Sangam was the present Madurai. It has also produced vast literature, but only a fraction of it has survived. It is this fraction which constitutes the extant body of Sangam literature. The age of the Sangam is the age to which the Sangam literature belonged. 3 kingdoms of the Sangam Age. During the Sangam Age, the 3 empires, the Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas ruled in Tamil country. Besides these main 3 powers, we also find references to the number of small chieftains in South Indian history. Wars and tribal clashes were frequent, and the king, who was at this stage essentially a war leader, was primarily concerned with the protection of his tribal kingdom. Though there were constant wars among the rulers of the 3 kingdoms for dominion of states and territory, they were all promoters of literature and other classical literary works. Under their rule, many changes took place in the regional politics, socio-economic and cultural sphere of South Indian history. The Cheras. Among the 3 kingdoms of the Sangam Age, the Cheras were prominent, ruled over parts of modern Kerala, which was situated to the west and north of the land of the Pandyas. It included the narrow strip of land between the sea and the mountains and covered portions of both Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Their capital was Vanji and important seaports were Tandi and Musiri. They had the palmyra flowers as their garland. Their royal symbol was bow and arrow. The Cheras were known by several titles such as Vanavar, Villavar and Malayar. In the early centuries of the Christian era, the Chera country was as important as the country of the Cholas and the Pandyas. It owed its importance to trade with the Romans. The Pugalur inscription of the 1st century AD refers to 3 generations of Chera rulers. One of the Sangam work Padarupattu also provides information on Chera kings and their political achievements. Udayan Cheralathan, Imayawaramban Nedam Cheralathan and Charan Sengatuvan were the famous rulers of this dynasty. The earliest Chera king was Udayan Cheralathan, who ruled from the capital city Vanji. He was a great warrior. He is said to have defeated Satakarni II, the Satavahana king. Nedam Cheralathan was the successor of Udayan Cheralathan. He was called Imayawaramban, he who had the Himalayas as his boundary. He fought a war with the contemporary Chola king in which both the monarchs lost their lives and their queens performed sati. He won a naval victory against a local chieftain on the Malabar coast. He possessed a large army. With the help of the army he defeated the Yavanas and imprisoned many of them. He built many temples and performed many sacrifices. That shows that Brahmanism had influence in the Chera kingdom. According to the Chera poets, their greatest king was Charan Sengatuvan, the red or good Chera. He belonged to 2nd century AD. Among his military achievements, his expedition to the Himalayas was remarkable. He defeated many North Indian monarchs. It is said that he invaded the north and crossed the Ganga. But all this seems to be exaggerated. His younger brother was Alongo Adigal, the author of Silapathakaram. Sengatuvan introduced the Patini cult or the worship of Kannagi as the ideal wife in Tamil Nadu. The stone for making the idol of Kannagi was brought by him after his Himalayan expedition. The consecration ceremony was attended by many princes including Gajabagu II from Sri Lanka. The Cholas. The Chola kingdom of the Sangam period extended from modern Tiruchirappalli district of Tamil Nadu to southern Andhra Pradesh. The kingdom, which came to be called Cholamandalam in early medieval times, was situated to the northeast of the Pandyan territory, between the Pennar and the Vellore rivers. The capital was Urayur and their second capital Pahar, also called Kavarapampattanam, which was the chief port of the Sangam Cholas. Their royal symbol was tiger. The Cholamandalam is also referred in the Sangam literature as Chonadu, Kavarinadu, Kavari Cholanadu, Nirnadu and Punalnadu. These names indicate the rich water resources of the Chola country. The Chola rulers had surnames like Kili, Vallavan, Seni and Cholan. The first Chola king was Ilamjet Seni, who ruled from Urayur. He possessed many beautiful chariots and had fabulous wealth. The greatest Chola king of the Sangam age was Karakala Cholan, ruled in 2nd century AD, who was the son of Ilamjet Seni. The name Karakala means, the man with the charred leg. He was a contemporary of the Shera king Perunjara Ladan. Karakala was a very competent ruler and a great warrior. The Sangam works Patanapalai and Puranurupadai portrays his early life and his military conquests. Early in life he was deposed and imprisoned. The way in which he escaped and re-established himself on the throne is well portrayed by the author of Patanapalai, a long poem on the Chola capital Kavarapattanam in the Patupattu. One of his early achievements was the victory at Veni, 15 miles to the east of Tanjavur. In the Battle of Veni he defeated the mighty confederacy consisting of the Cheras, Pandyas and 11 minor chieftains. This event is mentioned in many Sangam poems by different authors. The Battle of Veni thus marked a turning point in the career of Karakala Cholan. Vahaiparandalai was another important battle fought by him in which 9 enemy chieftains submitted before him. Karakala's military achievements made him the overlord of the whole Tamil country. Trade and commerce flourished during his period. He was responsible for the reclamation of forest lands and brought them under cultivation, thus adding prosperity to the people. He also built Kalanai across the river Kaveri and constructed many irrigation tanks. He founded Pahar and constructed 160 kilometers of embankment along the Kaveri River. This was built with the labor of 12,000 slaves who were brought as captives from Sri Lanka. Pahar was a great center of trade and commerce, and excavations show that it had a large dock. The Cholas maintained an efficient navy. Under Karakala's successors the Chola power rapidly declined. 2 sons of Karakala ruled from 2 different capitals, the elder from Urayur and the younger one from Pahar. The Pandyas. The Pandyas ruled over the present-day southern Tamil Nadu, roughly included the modern districts of Madurai, Tirunelveli and Ramanathapuram. Their capital was Madurai and chief port was Korkai. Their royal symbol was fish. The Pandyas are rightly famous for patronizing the poets and scholars of the Tamil Sangams. They had several surnames like Moran, Valyudi and Chelian. The earliest kings of the Pandyan dynasty were Nediyan, Palyagasalai Mudakudumi Peruvaludi and Mudathirumaran. Mudakudumi Peruvaludi was a follower of Vedic religion. He constructed many sacrificial altars. The greatest Pandya king of the Sangam age was Nadunchelian. There were 2 Nadunchelians. The first one was known as Aryapadai Kadantha Nadunchelian, one who won victories over the Aryan forces. He was responsible for the execution of Kovalan, for which Kannagi burnt Madurai. The other was Talayalanganatu Charavendra, he who won the battle at Talayalanganam, Nadunchelian. He was the hero of the Madurai Kanchi. He was praised by Nakirar and Mangudi Maruthanar. He wore this title after defeating his enemies at the Battle of Talayalanganam, which is located in the Tanjore district. Madurai Kanchi, written by Mangudi Maruthanar, describes the political and socio-economic condition of the Pandya country, including the flourishing seaport of Korkai. The last famous Pandyan king was Agira Peruvaludi. The Pandyan rule during the Sangam age began to decline due to the invasion of the Kalabris in the 3rd century AD. The Pandyan kings profited from trade with the Roman Empire and sent embassies to the Roman Emperor Augustus. The Pandyan port Korkai was a great centers of trade and commerce, another port was Salyer. The Brahmins enjoyed considerable influence, and the Pandya kings performed Vedic sacrifices in the early centuries of the Christian era. Local chieftains. Apart from the 3 major Tamil kingdoms, there were a number of local chieftains, ruled in different parts of Tamil country during the Sangam age. They were known by as Vellars. The Sangam literature furnishes lot of information about the small chieftains. The most famous among the local chieftains were called 7 patrons, or Kadayelu Valakal. These 7 patrons were Perai, Ori, Malayan, Alini, Pagan, Aa and Nali. The greatest patron among them was Perai, who ruled over the Perambu. These local chieftains had extended their patronage to the Tamil poets like Kappilar, Auvayar, Nalathanar and Perunchithiranur. In turn, these poets hailed them for their generosity. They had also extended their help to resolve any disputes between the rulers. The local chieftains made generous donations to the poets, bards as their consorts like the Chera, Chola and Pandya rulers. The chieftains had also played a significant role in the political, social and cultural domains during the Sangam Age. Nature of Sangam polity. The Sangam polity is tribal in nature. The Sangam king was the clan leader as well as its military commander. Mgs Narayanan considers the Sangam monarch as just a tribal military chieftain in the process of developing into a regular king with an urban court, legal system and a bureaucratic master. The Sangam ruler organized wars not for territorial conquests, but for plunder and destruction of the enemy's fields and cattle. There are suggestions about the standardization of interstate relations by the Brahmin ambassadors, but on the whole from a tribal state of culture. Cattle raiding were an important part of the intertribal warfare. There were all sorts of myths, legends and superstitions regarding military heroes and martyrdom. The Sangam poems indicated that each king or chieftain had totem tree and totem flower and they were guarded with almost care and exhibited with great pride. Regular patrilineal successionies noted in all the three kingdoms and marriages between the royal families are mentioned in literature. Territorial sentiment or royalty is not in evidence except in the case of cities and villages, but tribal affinities of the Is, Vels, etc. are celebrated in the poems of the Sangam literature. Monarchy. In the Sangam age, monarchy was the institution of administrative mechanism among the ancient Tamils. In the case of monarchy there are two types. Firstly, among the Sangam rulers only 3 rulers alone are mentioned as Muvandar or 3 crowned heads and other rulers are referred as small chieftains or Kuranila Manar. The Chera, Chola and Pandya rulers are known as Muvandar and Pegan, Ori, Perai, Kari, Adiyaman and others are called as Kuranila Manarkal, small chieftains. Among the Muvandar the Cholas had control over the fully irrigated fertile Kaveri basin and delta region. The Pandyas ruled over the predominantly pastoral, Mullai region, and the littoral tracts, Natal region, and the Cheras over the hilly area, Kurunji region, in the west. The extent of territory over which each of 3 crowned monarchs held sway was never constant. The Tamil classics make explicit reference to the local chieftains not along with the Muvandar but apart from them. The chieftains ruled independently. Some of them were equal in powers to the Muvandar. The chieftains were traditionally organized political factors with recognized rights and duties and not a product of monarchical weakness. Monarchy was the form of the government during the Sangam period. The king was the hereditary head of the state in the ancient Tamil polity. However, he appears to have not been an absolute monarch as his powers were restricted by the existence of 5 councils or the assemblies. The eldest son of the reigning king generally succeeded his father, and the throne was inherited by him as by right and was called Murai Mudal Katal. The younger princes were known as Alongo, Alanjalian Alangeral, Alankasar, Ilavilaman, Alavich Chikan. The right of succession was called Tayam, or Uramai. The right of succession to a throne acquired by virtue of conquest was differentiated from the right of succession acquired by birth. The king had certain basic functions such as learning, performing sacrifices, giving presents, protecting subjects and punishing the wicked and the guilty. According to Nachanarkiniyar, the sacrifices which were prescribed for the kings were Rajasuam and the Ashvamedha. The Chola ruler Karakalan is said to have performed many sacrifices. His foremost duty was to protect his followers. The king was equated with God. The garlands and royal umbrella represented the royal dignity. The umbrella of the ruler, people believed would guard them. There was the effort among the people to make the king appear to be a man of extraordinary power and sacred virtue. Thank you.